What may concern Russia more than U.S. plans for sanctions is the prospect of sanctions from the European Union. As CCTV's Anya Ardayeva explains, EU sanctions would have a much bigger impact on the Russian economy.
The limited actions imposed by Washington on Thursday appear more symbolic than substantive. Even if the White House widens the visa restrictions and selective asset freezes to full-scale economic sanctions, Moscow is likely to be more concerned about the prospect of economic sanctions by the EU. The EU is Russia's #1 trading partner. European statistics show EU trade accounted for more than $370 billion in 2012. That was 41% of Russia's total imports and exports. The US, on the other hand, was Russia's 5th largest trading partner, accounting for just over $26 billion in trade that same year, which was 14 times less trade than with the EU. For these reasons, former Russian economy minister Andrei Nechayev says that the limited actions taken today by both the United States and EU are unlikely to do much damage to the Russian economy.
If those sanctions simply involve arrests of assets, similar to Yanukovych or Lukashenko, or the ruling Russian elite, it will be negative for them, but it will not influence the Russian economy in any way. But it may result in the Russian elites taking less money out of the country.
Observers also say that much tougher economic restrictions will be needed if the US and EU want to put some real pressure on the Kremlin.
If the sanctions affect the Russian South Stream pipeline, then it's serious. If, God forbid, Western banks under pressure from the governments demand early repayment of loans, then this would be a heavy hit for Russia, because at the moment, its corporate debt stands at about $750 billion, with state banks and state companies owning about half of this.
One deterrent to the US and EU escalating Thursday's actions to full-blown trade sanctions is a possible boomerang effect. Trade cuts both ways. Economic sanctions by the EU against Russia, Europe's biggest gas supplier, could do as much damage to Europe as they would do to Russia. Kremlin officials insist that Russia and the EU could find both their economies weakening in the midst of Europe's fragile economic recovery. Anya Ardayeva, CCTV, Moscow.